Hi, and welcome to the YouTube channel for the Renaissance English History Podcast. I'm Heather.
And I'm Hannah.
She's my helper.
I'm Mom's helper.
Yeah. Today we're talking about a massive event that took place in the autumn of 1537.
Jane Seymour's death.
Well, we're actually specifically talking about her funeral.
Ah,
Uh,
that has to do with her death.
I mean, it does have to do. And we're going to have a little look right here's a little introductory paragraph on her death.
Ah,
Ah. Do you want to say anything to the people?
subscribe and like the video.
You know the drill. All right.
Okay.
So today, like I said, we're talking about an event, a massive event that happened in the autumn of 1537. It was related to the birth of Prince Edward, but it was not the birth of Prince Edward. It was the death of Jane Seymour, his mother, and her funeral. So if you are new here, very special, warm welcome to you. I am your host, Heather Tesco. I've been podcasting on Tudor England since 2009. This channel right here is where I put all of my episodes from all of my shows, as well as lots of extra fun content like this video right here. Quick reminder, TudorCon is coming up in 3 weeks. Oh my gosh, it's 3 weeks. I got the stickers. Look, these are the stickers that are in the swag bag for the people. I don't want to show you too much, but they're right here. Stickers for the people who come in person. They get fun stickers in their swag bag. And so, yeah, it's too late to come in person because I've closed the ticket sales, but you can still come through the magic of the internet with the streaming ticket where you get everything streamed. You get a digital swag bag, all kinds of cool stuff. Englandcast.com/TudorCon online to learn more about that. Englandcast.com/TudorCon online. All right. So let's get into it. In the autumn of 1537, the halls of Hampton Court Palace echoed with the triumphant news that had been long awaited in England. Queen Jane Seymour had given birth to a healthy male heir, the future King Edward VI. It was a moment of unparalleled joy for Henry VIII, fulfilling his fervent desire for a legitimate male successor. However, the joy was ephemeral, overshadowed by the impending tragedy. As the days passed, it became clear that Jane, after her very difficult labor, was not recovering as expected. Though I have to say, there are a lot of theories about this. So people say she died of childbed fever. The thing that's very interesting was that she had seemed to recover. She was actually up writing letters announcing the birth. It wasn't like sometimes in movies they show it was like this really hard labor and then she just never recovered. She was actually up and she was, receiving visitors, writing letters, all of that. And then she took a turn for the worse. And so Alison Weir has a very interesting theory in one of her recent books on Jane Seymour, where she talked about a theory that she has after talking with doctors and reading all of the different chronicles and stuff. So I will link to that there, I think. And you can check that out. How's that for a tease, right? I can't tell you the whole thing because then you wouldn't watch the video, and I want you to watch the video. So, got to do these things. Okay. So she, of course, transformed from a radiant mother to a fragile figure confined to her bedchamber. And October 24th, just 12 days after her son's birth, Jane's condition worsened irrevocably, leading to her untimely death. Complications from childbirth, some other thoughts, who knows? There's a lot of theories, like I said. Henry VIII's reaction was profound. The king, who had celebrated the birth of his son with grandeur, was now thrown into an abyss of grief. Retreating from courtly affairs, he secluded himself in Windsor, grappling with the loss of the wife who had given him his long-desired heir. He was lost in his sorrow, so he handed over the funeral arrangements to his trusted courtiers, the Duke of Norfolk and Sir William Paulet. Their task was not only to ensure a befitting farewell for Queen, but also to gather a cortege for the transfer of the Queen's body from Hampton Court to Windsor. Norfolk and Paulet delved into the archives. They looked back at the most recent funeral for a queen, which would have been Henry's mother, Elizabeth of York. And their findings detailed the nobility that had attended Elizabeth's funeral, earls, barons, knights. Determined to give Jane an even grander send-off, Norfolk summoned an even larger assembly of the English nobility. Among those who were called were influential figures like, of course, the Duke of Suffolk, the Marquis of Dorset and Exeter, and many prominent earls. In a pious gesture, Norfolk commissioned 1,200 masses to be sung honoring the departed queen's soul. Let's think for a second. This is um, October 1537, right? And look, I'm no fan of Henry VIII. I'm not going to try and excuse his barbarism, but let's just think for a minute of what this period would have been for him. Like we talk about, sometimes we go through periods where like just nothing's going right. So in less than 2 years, he has this terrible jousting accident and has a miscarriage. Then he's convinced in some way, he manages to convince himself that Anne has cheated on him and perhaps even put a spell on him, and she's executed. And of course, he probably found ways to, make himself the victim in that in his own mind. So then Anne's put to death. Then his son Henry Fitzroy dies. And he's married to Jane, just married to Jane at the time. There's some theories that Jane had a miscarriage early on too. Again, not sure, but that might have happened because she then got pregnant with Edward by January, February. So then, the beginning of 1537 is good. But then, he has this baby, it's all good. And then his wife dies. I mean, it's like 15, 16 months of just like one thing after another, I would assume from his perspective. So he was really in a bad place. So on October 25th, in a solemn ritual, Jane Seymour's entrails were buried in the Chapel Royal at Hampton Court. The embalmed body, adorned with a golden robe, jewels, and a crown, lay in state in the presence chamber. Surrounded by tapers, an altar nearby echoed with the chants of masses that were sung day and night for her soul. A significant ceremony involved the bodies transferred to the Chapel Royal, and then the Queen lay in state under the vigil of her ladies, prominent household servants, and Lady Mary, Princess Mary, the King's eldest daughter, who was the chief mourner. Mary was showing her respect. She even financed masses to be sung in Jane's name and managed the Queen's household during this period of mourning. The stage was set, and soon the journey to her final resting place would begin. On November 8th, a grand procession departed from Hampton Court, marking the commencement of Jane Seymour's final journey to Windsor. Her body was placed on a horse-drawn hearse, preceded by 200 torch-bearing men, each wearing the Queen's badge. The chief mourner, Lady Mary, trailed behind the hearse, donned in somber black velvet, and she led 29 mourners, each symbolized a year of Jane's life. There was a wax or wooden effigy of the Queen also paraded around, a testament to, the fact that she was royal. As the procession snaked through its route, people lined the streets with candles. They were kind of living beacons for this nationwide mourning that was going on. Their silence was intermittently broken by clergy or local leaders who welcomed the cortege at various junctures. On arriving at St. George's Chapel in Windsor on November 10th, the resonant toll of bells accompanied the sight of the Dean and College emerging to greet the procession. The Queen's body, gracefully carried by 6 pallbearers, was met at the high altar by Archbishop Cranmer. Amid prayers, Jane lay in state, a hallowed sight, with Lady Mary maintaining a devoted vigil. By the next day, the chapel echoed with chants of the Requiem masses and dirges, and the coffin, embellished by velvet palls from the Queen's ladies, cradled the effigy of Jane. When November 12th dawned, the final ceremony unfolded. With a sea of faces, including her brothers Edward and Thomas, in attendance, the Queen was accorded full honors. The deep silence was broken only by the ceremonial shattering of the Queen's officers' staves, signifying the conclusion of their allegiance. The closing rites for the Queen began on November 14th at St. Paul's Cathedral. The Lord Mayor attended, and alms were graciously distributed to the poor, all in the name of the departed Queen. This heartfelt gesture marked the end of the official funeral for Jane, but the grief lingered. Of course, the court was draped in mourning through Christmas. It was only by February 3rd, 1538, that Henry, with a heavy heart, decreed the end of the mourning period. The once somber court saw the return of color as people resumed wearing their standard clothing, yet, of course, the depth of Henry's affection for Jane remained evident. 9 years on, he chose to lie beside her at Windsor foregoing the familial resting place at Westminster Abbey, a testament to the space that Jane held in his heart. That's it. That's the funeral of Jane Seymour. Thank you so much for watching. If you have made it to the end of this video and enjoyed it, I hope I earned your subscription to my channel and a press of that like button. I put out videos like this almost every day, and who doesn't want their YouTube algorithm Tudorfied, am I right? In all seriousness, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. You are appreciated. You are deeply loved. You're appreciated by me, and not just because you watched this video. Don't forget to drink your water, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.